All right, Daphne, I tell you what, why don't we turn this place into a zoo? And that's because we're going to be celebrating the 40th anniversary since the release of Kiss Animalize Live Uncensored.
That's right.
And today we are actually filming on the day of the actual 40th anniversary. This is April 19th, and this will be going up Sunday, April 20th, but today is the 19th. It is the 40th anniversary since the release of Kiss Animalize Live Uncensored. And so we are glad that you were joining us here on episode 136 of the Kiss Army Things podcast to discuss this. Of course, my name is Xander.
My name is Daphne.
Really appreciate you guys being here today. So, Daphne, have you seen this entire performance before yet?
Not until...
you've seen clips of it.
Yeah, not until last night when we watched it.
But this was the first...
Yeah, this was my first time.
This is something that you can find pretty much every clip on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I've watched the whole thing on YouTube.
I'm sure I've seen clips here and there, but not the whole thing.
But we... I forget, I think, was it Jeb that gave us the tip on this? I think this Brazilian bootleg DVD. And so, yeah, this was the first time getting to just actually sit back and watch the entire thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we really enjoyed it, and I'm sure that you guys have already heard about this. I mean, everybody knows this is like one of the most iconic live 80s Kiss performances. One of the most definitive live 80s Kiss performances. So, yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about here today. And I want to real quickly start out with a pre-spotlight.
Okay.
Pre-Kiss spotlight.
Because obviously this is our main spotlight.
This is the main topic.
You've got some extras
This is
for
the main
us.
course. But it's actually going to relate back to last episode.
Okay.
I showed this for the last week's Collector's Corner.
Yes.
This is the Japan edition of Kiss 40. And so I bought it in February, and it took forever to get here. And one of our Patreon subscribers said, hey, why don't you open it up? I mean, it's not a collector's edition, so you might as well open it up, enjoy it. And I thought, you know what, absolutely. So
true.
I did a bonus video for the Patreon subscribers and was talking about this, and it reminded me of the reason why I bought this. And again, I bought it in February, and it's almost May now,
right.
So I didn't forget about it, but I forgot one of the reasons why I bought it. And one of the things that makes this extra special is that it comes with a official live release of Hell or Hallelujah from Live at Budokan 2013.
Okay.
So I totally spaced that and totally forgot about that. Again, I did not know about this specific release. I thought the best of was the only version.
Was the Japanese one, yeah.
Was the only Japanese version. So hearing about this and then learning that there's actually a live recording that was officially released, I was like, I gotta have it.
Yeah.
It's Tommy and Eric. It's my lineup. Hell or Hallelujah was the last lead single. So that's one of the reasons why I bought this. And I will say it's funny because it goes from Hell or Hallelujah Studio to Hell or Hallelujah Live 2013.
Nice.
So
interesting.
It's back to back. So that's the only kind of weird thing about it.
Yeah, weird choice.
Weird choice, but it's still nice to have that included.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that that recording of Hell or Hallelujah, this official live release, may be one of the earliest official live recordings from the current lineup. The only other one I can think of being King of the Nighttime World from Virginia Beach, which was released as a bonus track on one of the versions of Monster. I think it might have been the Japanese edition of Monster. Yeah, one of the editions of Monster had a bonus track of King of the Nighttime World from Virginia Beach in 2004. And that, I think, may have been the first official live release. And then, well, no, actually this came with a couple because the version of Cold Gin and Crazy Nights from and Deuce. So yeah, this is really cool because it comes with several, or at least a handful of live tracks from the current lineup.
Yeah.
So Kiss 40, man, it just keeps getting better and better.
Awesome.
It keeps delivering, and so yeah.
So have you have opened it up when you did the
I
video?
did open it up, yes. I went ahead and sleeved it. That's why it's in this plastic.
Nice, okay.
It's in a plastic sleeve. But yeah, I did open it up. I did listen to it here on the CD player in the Kiss room. Got to listen to the whole thing and then the bonus track. And so yeah, really enjoyed it. And so if you're looking to complete your Kiss discography collection, Japanese Kiss 40 might be a good addition for you to have because I really liked it. And so I thought that would be our pre-spotlight. But let's go back to 1984. So this is technically 84. Now, the reason why it's the 40th here in 2025 is because it was, of course, released in 1985. It was released April 19th, 85. And it was released on, I think, VHS first. Yeah, it would have been VHS. And then, like I said earlier, this is just like a Brazilian bootleg. that uses the broadcast, and then they translate it to DVD. But I gotta say, and you'll agree, this was a really, really good bootleg.
Oh, it was incredible.
The quality was really, really high quality. There was like subtitles for some of the like the intro,
but well, it was really only for when there was spoken dialogue. Because at first, because it had the translations on there, and at first I was like, "Is it gonna do this for every lyric of every song?"
Right.
But luckily, it was pretty much just Paul's stage banter and then the intro and things like that. The little translation subtitles would pop up there.
Yeah. So it was released in April of 85, but it was recorded in December of 84.
Right.
December 8th, 84 at Cobo Hall in Detroit, Michigan for the Animalize tour. What's interesting is that this is like right when Bruce came into the band, officially.
Yeah.
Because he had been performing with the band in place of Mark St. John.
Yeah.
And then Mark came back for a couple shows. There was that one show in November when Mark and Bruce both played.
Right.
And that was sort of like a really, a big thing. And then right after that was when Bruce was officially announced. So this is like one of Bruce's, he's still very, very early in the band as far as being
kind of public appearances.
This is the first
other than
real
concerts that you wouldn't really know unless you were there.
I'm curious to, what other fans think, and we'll have to rely on the Kiss Army to leave their comments, especially if they were there and around this time. But since information didn't travel as fast, I'm wondering how many people even knew that Mark St. John wasn't there anymore, or if he was in the band at all.
Right.
Because he was only there from the beginning of 84 to the end of 84.
Yeah.
And here we are at the end, and Bruce is now taking over. So if you were a fan of 83, you might still think that Vinnie Vincent was in the band. And if you were really out of the loop, and you were the last album you bought was in 82, and you saw Ace on the front cover, you might still think Ace is in the band.
And you've missed,
here they are, Kiss, out of makeup, first of all.
Yeah.
Whoa, Kiss.
Who is this?
Yeah, who is this? It says Kiss, but they're not even in makeup. No Peter, no Ace. You have Eric Carr, but you don't have, Ace, you don't have Vinny, you don't have Mark. You have this new guy, Bruce. So, and we even noticed how on the in the very opening, it didn't even show Bruce at all.
It took a while to get
for the
to
first couple minutes. It wasn't until the solo, which you think, first couple minutes, that's not too bad. But like when it's going from like shot to shot, from member to member,
it's edited pretty quickly, like
like a concert film would be.
Yeah, a shot on this person, this person, this person, and it kept rotating between the three of them, just Paul, Gene, and Eric.
Yeah, and it did show some group shots, but it was very strategic to where you couldn't really see Bruce
from the back,
from the side.
Yeah.
He was on the other side of the two, but I was like, man, come on, show Bruce. And so finally, during the guitar solo for Detroit Rock City, is where you finally get to see Bruce kind of up close. But yeah, so Bruce is the new guy, but here he is. I mean, lead guitar player in Kiss. We know that Bruce's involvement for the band goes back a little bit because Bob Kulick's involvement in the band, but Bruce is finally getting his time to shine. So I would almost kind of compare this to Tommy Thayer when he came into the band for Kiss Alive 4, because he had already played in Jamaica and he had already done a couple of performances American Bandstand, but here he is at the Telstra Dome with the 60-piece Melbourne Symphony Orchestra as his first real public performance.
Right, yeah.
And it becomes a legendary performance. Here's Bruce kind of, again,
that's a good parallel.
Bruce and Tommy both stepping in like at a very pivotal moment and then getting that big sort of like exposure right out of the gate.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
They are mirrors of each other.
I can't imagine what Bruce was going through at that time, just because obviously even Mark St. John too, where it's like you're stepping into like one of the biggest bands.
Yeah, those are big shoes to fill.
Big shoes to fill, and a pivotal, I don't know if it's pivotal, right, but definitely transitional era of the band. But I thought that, Bruce was doing a bang up job, of course.
He killed it.
We loved the intro when the guys were coming up.
Yes.
From the bottom of the stage.
The way they rose up was so dramatic and so good. I love that intro so much. And the stage was so good. We had like the Animalize print floor of the stage.
Yes, very unique.
And they also had like these ramps and stairs and all kinds of things for them to climb on because they have so much energy. And
the classic Kiss light up logo. So it was a really cool stage. I love how that even though Kiss has taken off the makeup, when you look at the stage, you look at the performances, and you hear the music, it is still 100% through and through Kiss. There were moments where, like, if you blink or squint, you could like see the demon, you could see the Star Child for just like a second, And it's cool how the makeup was really just an extension, an exaggeration, over the top sort of representation of the music and of the characters and the people themselves. I mean, I was watching it, and I feel like even Gene where in the 80s people will give Gene a lot of flack for, like, again, I mean, Asylum, okay, the colorful
look,
outfits, all that, but Animalize, despite the wig, I mean, the outfit looked really cool.
That's what I was saying.
It was very, like, leathery, and
even though they all are dressed super 80s, obviously.
Yeah, very 80s.
First of all, I love the outfits. Paul's outfit here is incredible,
yeah.
and I'm like, I want to someday, like, DIY that as a costume. That'd be so fun.
That'd be a cool cosplay.
I want to spin around in those, like, ribbons he has coming off his pants.
I bet he was having a great time on stage.
Yeah. But Gene, like, even though he still was very, you know, bedazzled and flamboyant in a way, it was all black and leather and studs and rhinestones. So it was like a glam, but still badass.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, if he was wearing the makeup, it would just be obviously it's not as crazy looking as, like, the Creatures of the Night or Dynasty outfit.
Yeah.
But it still very much looks like a Gene Simmons outfit.
Yeah.
And he's still doing the tongue with the battle axe, so it's like, I love
like,
that.
I feel like him doing the, like, demon face and tongue and, like, sparkly, like, pink and neon green outfits is a little weird.
Yeah.
But in the black leather, it worked very
well. It worked really well, yeah. And I think, if I had to be honest, I would say that I think I preferred, not that it matters when we compare the eras, but I like the Animalize era. Mm-hmm. I think just a little bit more than both Lick It Up and Asylum.
Agreed.
Just because, I don't know why, it's just nestled nicely in there. And maybe it's just the chemistry that Bruce and Eric Carr had right out of the gate.
And I feel like
it was just this, I don't know.
They really had the look down in a way that they didn't quite reach in the eras on either side.
Although I will say it's kind of funny because we've looked at some pictures of Kiss without the makeup from the 80s, you know, several times, but even recently where we look at it, we're like, I thought you guys took off the makeup.
Right.
They took off the war paint just to put on, like, regular
blush and lipstick,
lipstick,
mascara,
eyeliner, mascara, and all this stuff, and it's like, okay, whatever. That was in at the time, so they're kind of just going with the times. I felt like Kiss was at the point where they were like, look, if we don't adapt and change, we're going to get left behind.
Right.
And so,
you got to be like a chameleon at a certain point.
We're going to be a chameleon. We're going to keep up. We're going to modernize. And, I mean, love it or hate it, they were killing it.
Yeah.
This was, there were several times where we just paused it and was like, this is incredible.
No, it was overall like a million times better than I was expecting. I knew I'd have a great time.
Of course, it's Kiss.
I freaking love 80s Kiss, especially.
Sure.
But as, like, musically and performance-wise, it was so good and so tight. And I know
energetic.
I know that, you know, odds are there probably was some editing here and there.
Definitely.
But they just sounded incredible. Paul's vocals were, like, flawless.
Yeah.
And they were just... it was just so good.
Yeah, I like this because, I mean, obviously we did just recently get the Poughkeepsie soundboard with Mark St. John. And again, I'm not going to compare Mark to Bruce because that's irrelevant right now.
Yeah.
We're just looking at Animalize as a whole. And the great thing about this is that you're getting, like, professional sound quality.
Yeah.
The Poughkeepsie soundboard is great because it's just raw soundboard audio.
Off the soundboard.
It's literally, like, it's not the best recording material. It's not meant to be the best recording equipment. It's meant to just be there for archival purposes.
Yeah, for posterity, basically.
Mostly for posterity, archival purposes, and maybe for review at a certain point. But, like, obviously these are for the masses and they're for consumers.
Yeah,
and
Paul
so
said,
you get professional grade.
Paul said not only was it being shot for MTV, but he said it was going to be on the radio as well.
Right, yeah.
So that was cool.
That's true, yeah. It was a radio broadcast.
Yeah.
And it was, filmed for MTV. So obviously they're going to make sure that it looks and sounds as good as possible, as they should. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely one of the most definitive live 80s performances of all time. Yeah,
and it was hard for me to even decide what was better. Like, the 80s songs that they were doing, because they were just incredible. But also, I love Unmasked Kiss doing Makeup Kiss songs, and vice versa. Like, any, like, weird combination of members.
Crossover
I know some
Kiss.
people hate that, but Crossover Kiss, I love that.
Crossover Kiss is the best.
Yeah, so hearing them do 70s songs, but, like, sped up with super high energy, but
with
still,
double bass.
But still so good and so clean. I loved that so much.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was actually mowing the lawn yesterday and I have Kiss just on shuffle.
Of course.
And I Love It Loud from the Millennium concert came on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Peter and Ace playing I Love It Loud, which was on Creatures of the Night, where, of course, Eric Carr played. And I'm pretty sure Vinnie Vincent might have co-wrote that, too. So I'm not sure if it was on lead guitar, but he's definitely in the video.
Yeah.
Or no, Ace is in the video still because he was still doing that for, he was being nice.
Yeah.
and hanging on for a little while longer. But effectively, he was already out of the band. But it's still cool to hear Peter and Ace playing songs like I Love It Loud, Heaven's on Fire, and Lick It Up from that farewell tour, even though that was not from their era. Again, I love crossover Kiss. I'm with you. Yeah. My favorite version of Heaven's on Fire might be the version from East Rutherford, New Jersey 2000 with Peter and Ace. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah, they're really going in with a lot of 80s songs too. We talked about this in our Asylum review where you don't really have a whole lot of 70s songs. You only have like Detroit Rock City, Cold Gin, Black Diamond, Rock and Roll Night, and Love Gun. The rest is all 80s.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of fans would agree with me when I say that this performance is so good that this should have been Kiss Alive 3.
Ooh, yeah, wow.
This, I think, should have been Kiss Alive 3. Eric Carr was never officially represented on a live Kiss album. They went from 77 to 93 with the Kiss Alive albums, and I'm like, man, they really should have had Animalize.
Yeah.
Live Uncensored. I mean, I think this would have been it's a great DVD, and it's great packaging, but they could have made that Kiss Alive 3.
This should
Animalize, Uncensored, or whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah.
But this is like that. It's that quality good.
This really should have been released as a live album. It's kind of crazy that it wasn't.
It's crazy that it wasn't. And I guess, again, maybe it was because they were moving away from the 70s. They were really like embracing the 80s Kiss. They're still playing those hits because, they're still the hits.
Yeah.
But they're really embracing the unmasked Kiss. That Kiss Alive business, that was a 70s thing, Alive 1 and Alive 2. This is Animalize.
Right.
Maybe they were thinking more along those lines, but I think that it would have been a really cool bridge.
Yes.
To have another installment. Because if fans were like, well, Kiss Alive 3, well, that's crazy. What's that about? And then you buy it and you hear this.
Yeah.
Under the Gun. Yeah. Creatures of the Night.
Thrills of the Night.
Like, Thrills of the Night. Yeah, so you're getting like, man, that would have been really cool. Because that was never on a live album. That would never had a chance.
Yeah.
But Under the Gun, wow.
And Eric got to sing 2 songs on this.
That is very true.
Young and Wasted. I was so excited when Young and Wasted started. Because I made it a point to not look at the set list ahead of time. I looked at the front of this DVD only. I was like, I'm not going to spoil it. I just kind of want to let it happen.
Right.
So when Young and Wasted started, I was like, yes. Because which soundboard is it that... We have the cutoff version.
Oh, Poughkeepsie.
Yes.
Poughkeepsie, yeah. The incomplete.
Yeah, like I guess the tape ended or something. So we only get a small chunk of that performance. Man. So getting to watch that pro shot was so good. And then obviously he also did Black Diamond.
Yes.
Oh, it was awesome.
Yeah, but I think that those are just more reasons why this should have been a live album, because Eric Carr would have been immortalized.
Yeah.
The only official live recording that there was of Eric Carr for the longest time was this live recording of Heaven's on Fire that was released on, what was it, Live Aid, Hearing Aid, something like that. It was like on this 80s compilation album.
Yeah.
And it was a live version of Heaven's on Fire. And that was for the longest time the only, there was an official release of Talk to Me from Sydney, Australia, from Unmasked. But again, there's no official full release.
Yeah.
It was the Poughkeepsie soundboard, it was the soundboards from the Creatures of the Night box set. Those were like the first. That's way too long. You're telling me 2020s is when we're getting full soundboards and full releases? It's like, how cool would it have been to have Kiss Alive 3 in your collection with this?
And how cool for Eric would that have been for that to happen in his lifetime?
That would have been incredible, yeah. And Kiss Alive 4 could have been, the other Alive 3, and then Alive 5 could have been the symphony.
Yeah, the others could still happen. They just bump their numbers.
It doesn't even affect anything. We're not really affecting anything in history except for we're adding a sweet live album, which, who's going to complain about that? But I think anybody who's watched this knows that this is, it's fantastic. It's Kiss at their peak. One of their peaks, because I feel like just again with Eric Carr and Bruce Kulick, they have such, like you said, they're tight, but it's still fast. It's 80s. It's energetic, and it really shines in a lot of these songs. Under the Gun was one of my favorites. Still one of my favorites.
Under the Gun was one of the best.
We've gotten that one on the last 2 soundboards.
That's true.
Because that to me is a very underrated song. That's an Eric Carr co-write, actually. Now that I think about it. But Under the Gun, that one's really cool because, again, it's something that you don't really hear a lot of. It's a song that if you ask, hey, you ever heard the Kiss song Under the Gun? No. You mean Love Gun? It's like, okay, yeah, gotcha. Or Under the Rose? No, I'm just kidding. No one's ever heard of Under the Rose. But if you mix Under the Rose and Love Gun, you get Under the Gun. That's kind of... Is that funny, or is that just us being silly in the moment? I don't know.
It's funny.
Who cares? But anyway, so yeah, I love Animalize Asylum Live Uncensored, or Animalize Live Uncensored, sorry. Yeah.
It's so good. I also love all of the solo moments that we get, like Paul's little solo moment with the crowd, where he does his little guitar solo kind of thing.
The finger tapping?
Yes, but then he does his classic, like, split the audience. And
that's funny. He's been doing that.
I love it.
For 40 years.
It's so good.
He was splitting the crowd, which, I mean, that's nothing new. Everybody does that.
Everybody does their own version of that, yeah.
But when you watch it, and it's just, again, it's Paul, though.
Yeah, well...
When Paul does it, it's different,
and
right?
He has this way of, like, commanding the audience without even saying anything sometimes. Like, he was pretty much silent that whole time. He didn't say anything. He just,
didn't need to.
He just does the part and points this way. And then I also love Gene's bass solo. I love non-makeup Gene bass solos.
Right, because he's actually playing.
Yes, and I feel like we've maybe talked about this before, but when he's the demon, he kind of, for necessity, has to...
He sacrifices the musical aspect for the entertainment value.
For the drama and for the
theatrics.
Sure. Yes, absolutely. And I love that. We all love that. It's, part of Kiss. But when he can actually have some fun with it and do the funky little groove, I really, really enjoy that.
Now... Did Bruce did not get a solo, did he? He was the only one that didn't get one.
Did he not?
Bruce did not get one.
I think you're right.
I don't think Mark St. John got one either during his spot. Maybe they axed the guitar solo after Vinnie Vincent.
Wait, no. Guitar solo after Thrills in the Night.
That's Paul's.
Oh, you're right. It doesn't say Paul.
That's Paul's before Under the Gun.
You're right. That's the only one that's on here. Guitar solo, drum solo, bass guitar solo.
Yeah.
Man,
I didn't
notice that in the moment.
I wonder if they axed the guitar solo after Vinnie Vincent's shenanigans.
Yeah.
Going on for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and
now they're still pretty new with Bruce, so it's probably easier to play.
It's like nobody knows who Bruce is yet, so I don't think he got a solo until...
That's a bummer.
No, he did on Asylum.
Okay.
The Asylum soundboard.
Yeah.
From San Antonio.
Right. Yeah.
He got one. I know they got one on the Crazy Nights tour.
Yeah. So he was just a little new at this point
so
for that, I guess.
They're maybe just like, they just, I guess, axed the guitar solo for a couple of... I guess Paul took the guitar solo spot.
Yeah.
For a couple tours because they were in between...
That's super interesting.
Guitar players who were actually stable in the band.
Wow, that's very interesting. I did not fathom that while we were watching.
Neither did I until just now.
Oh, one thing I wanted to mention was there was this really cool moment when Paul took something from the crowd that somebody was handing up to him.
Yes.
And it was this big sign that was like drawn on like a sheet or something, like a bed sheet. It was so cool. And then he and Gene like held it up for the camera. It was so neat.
Yeah, it had Gene, Paul, Peter Ace, it had Eric Carr, it had Vinnie Vincent on it. I don't know if it actually had Mark St. John, and I doubt it would have Bruce. Maybe it did, and they were that up to date.
Yeah, if they were that.
But it was still it was very, very cool fan-made banner that was, held up by the band.
Yeah,
and of course,
how cool would that be?
They threw it right back out into the crowd. Who knows who caught it? But they, I guess, acknowledged it, held it up, and it was really cool, because somebody put a lot of time
Yes, it was so well done.
I love when fans do that, because there's, of course, the classic Kiss Alive banner that everybody knows and loves. Like, I think back to Kiss Alive 4, the Symphony Orchestra, there was a 30th anniversary banner they were holding up.
Yeah.
So, I've always loved the fans and their artistic endeavors and trying to, like, look at my, like wrestling, look at my sign.
Yes.
It's just fun stuff.
I love that. And I think we should go back to making, I like the homemade sheet. I think is a really good idea instead of a big, like, cardboard sign that gets in everybody's way.
Right,
this could be small, but then
just
you
fold the sheet up or wad it up and you're good to go.
Yeah, hold it up when it's time. And
that's very smart.
Like, that's actually genius. I love it.
That's very smart. Yeah, so obviously, this was a fun time watching this. I noticed on the front cover here, they have spelled Gene wrong. They have 2 N's on accident.
And also Eric Carr.
And then Eric Carr just has 1 R.
Yep.
So it's like Eric Sedan, Eric Vehicle.
Eric Sedan.
Eric Carr, yeah. But no, I'm glad that there... I think this was like, 03, 05? I mean, it's a DVD, so it wasn't like it was in the 80s.
Right.
But no, this was actually ripped from a Japanese Laserdisc, if I'm not mistaken.
Cool.
I think it was ripped from a Japanese Laserdisc, but has... Portuguese subtitles.
That's amazing.
Or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But either way, it was still really cool. And I think Jeb gave us a tip on this. The VHS, though, people say 80s Kiss, like it wasn't successful. It was, like, I'm pretty sure that this was a platinum release.
Okay.
DVD is a bootleg, so the VHS is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Pretty sure VHS sold 100,000 copies, which is a platinum award for Kiss, which is pretty incredible. We know Heaven's on Fire was a huge hit for the band. So, I mean,
Dude,
this is...
Heaven's on Fire and this was insane. I remember that was one of the moments, because obviously it was a little bit edited, where I think they, like, might have cut out some banter or something in between the last song and that one. Because it seemed like all of a sudden he was just doing the intro. We're like, okay, here we go.
Goes right into it.
Oh, one thing I don't want to forget to mention either is towards the end, I think, was it maybe during Black Diamond? When these stairs descend. And
yeah, that was like the only time I've ever seen that happen before on a tour. That was so cool.
And Gene and Paul and Bruce go up, and they end up on this like spaceship looking platform.
Yeah,
that was so.
And they're
cool.
playing that jam that I've mentioned before. How on the end of Black Diamond, they almost played that that part that sounds like the last part of "And on the Eighth Day" from "Lick It Up" at the end of Black Diamond, and they did that on like the last few tours at least, in the road tour. Kiss World Tour, Freedom Rock Tour, maybe. Definitely the end of the road tour. And here we are listening to Black Diamond, and they're playing a very similar portion of that too, where it sounds like it's on the 8th day. So that must be where it started. One other thing, this just came to me, I'm so glad I remember this, because when we watched Lick It Up, they did Lick It Up, but they didn't do the acapella Don't Want to Wait. It just went right into the song. And with the riff and the drums.
It was like the studio version, basically.
Studio version, exactly. And so I've always wondered when, at what point, definitely by Alive 3, definitely by 92, they were doing the acapella intro for Lick It Up. But I'm wondering, when did that become a thing? I need to go back and just listen to Lick It Up from 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. They didn't play it until 91. And figure out where along the way it became the Lick It Up that we know. But that's just a fun thing to watch. And here it is, a song that just came out like a year or two prior.
That's so crazy to think about.
It's still new. It
still feels so iconic to us.
Yeah, it feels iconic, but it was brand new. I mean, it was probably still a hit at the time, along with Heaven's on Fire. That was like the biggest hit at the time. Was Heaven's on Fire? I'm not sure if that was released as a single yet. I can't remember when Heaven's on Fire was released as a single. I know Animalize came out in September of 84, and you would think...
And this is December, you said?
This is December, and this was released in April. So maybe Heaven's on Fire was released in between there or afterwards.
Maybe, yeah.
I could look it up, I guess, if I wanted to right now, just to give us a definitive answer. But because I know we've talked about in the past how Kiss has done some weird things with their single releases, where it's like, why'd you wait...
Why'd you wait so long?
Why'd you wait so long?
Yeah, or why'd you choose that
Or why'd you choose that song? Yeah, exactly. There's a few different like head scratcher moments here. Let me figure out if Heaven's on Fire is one of them.
So while you're looking into that, another thing I wanted to mention was how much I loved all the crowd shots.
Oh my gosh!
In any concert footage ever, I think there needs to be a good healthy dose of crowd shots, because especially as time goes on, it's just such a fun time capsule of the fans at the time and just the general public at the time.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're watching Kiss, and, you know, they obviously, with these outfits, are products of the 80s, but at the same time, they're in these crazy costumes. They're, you know, rock stars, larger than life. They're supposed to look like that. But just to see what the normal, everyday, like, rock and roll Kiss fan looked like, with their big hair and mullets. And the
shirts,
and
obviously.
The vintage shirts. Oh, speaking of vintage shirts... I am wearing a vintage Animalize shirt.
You're wearing my Animalize shirt.
You tried, but it's a little small on you.
I'm not gonna lie, I did try to squeeze into it. I'm pushing 30, my body's changing, so I'm not quite the same.
It's not even that. It's just this is a small shirt for
I think it was. I think it's a large.
But this is not.
But it's a large for 84.
Yeah, it probably used to be bigger and has shrunk significantly, because this is no bigger than a medium. But he walked in the kitchen wearing it, and he's like, "Be honest, this is too tight." And I was like, maybe.
So I'm not getting the information that I want. It's saying that Lick It Up or Heaven's on Fire was released the same day as the album, which of course makes sense.
It's not giving you the single release date.
Yeah, or the video. But either way, yeah. So that brings up a good point, though, because, yeah, I did want to... I was going to show a bunch of Animalize stuff, but I was like, there's a lot that I could show. I've got the bumper stickers, and I did show the tour book at one point that we got. There's another Animalize shirt down there. I think it's the same one as that one. This one has Bruce on the front, though. This right here, the shirt.
Oh, the shirt. Sorry, I thought you were still looking down there.
No, that's the Animalize tour book that I have has Mark St. John on the front.
But this does have Bruce on it.
But the shirt has Bruce on it, yeah. I don't know if there were any shirts with Mark St. John on them.
That's a bummer.
I mean, I could be wrong. What do I know?
If there were, I'm sure they're extremely rare and hard to find.
I should look into that and see if there are. Maybe there are some Animalize shirts, but that's the only one I know. That's the back cover that was photoshopped. Photoshopped, it wasn't around back then, but photo edited.
Edited.
Yeah, edited, and Bruce was put in. But yeah, so I was gonna show some Animalize stuff, but I thought, you know what? I'll just we'll stick with the shirt.
Yep.
We have the DVD. I may even actually remove the CD and then we'll replace it for this right here. You want to put this over there, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely.
We do have 2 spots open.
We do indeed.
We could just do it like that. Perfect. Anyway, so yeah, are there any other? I am going to be showing some more Kiss stuff.
Of course you are.
So, so before I do that, do we have any more anything else to say about Kiss Animalize Live Uncensored? We were messaging with one of our good friends, Darren Smith.
Oh yes, who's also a patron.
Also a Patreon subscriber. And I was like, hey, wait a minute, weren't you there at this show?
Yeah.
He was like, yep, 13. I was there.
That's
Detroit,
amazing.
Cobo Hall. I was like, dude, we're watching it. We're reliving it right now.
I was like, I'm so jealous. I would love to have seen that live.
I know. I was like, can we see you on screen? He goes, nope, I'm in the lower bowl in the back because my cousin got the cheap seats. And I was like, but hey, you were there, though.
Lower bowl is still not bad.
And you were there, though, because, I mean, like, again, that must be so cool to be on, or to have been at
to
a
know that you're
legendary Kiss performance. If you were at one of the shows that was recorded for Kiss Alive 2, Kiss Alive 3, if you were there at the Telstra Dome for Kiss Alive 4, if you were there at the Joint for Kiss Rocks Vegas, like all those events, you have to be, you know, feel pretty good if you were at that event and that event gets immortalized in DVD or an album version.
And you can always go back and revisit that, like a professional recording
Can
of
you
that.
Grab both those right there?
These?
Yes, because that's exactly why I love both of these.
Yeah.
On the Hottest Show on Earth tour, when Kiss they had the Simfi Live flash drives, and then there were these CDs made with the German logo. But yeah, so you could buy these at the show and take it home, and it was same reason. They're not professionally produced or anything. It's not video. It's just audio, but you get to have your show immortalized.
It's very cool.
On tape forever. So. Yeah, I know that some folks who were at the on the soundboard shows, you know, have said like, "Oh, I was there. That's so cool." I was at Donington. I was there at the San Antonio. It's like, that's really cool.
Definitely.
That's super cool. So yeah, we were messaging Darren about that. But yeah, so anything else about Animalize Live Uncensored as we're wrapping up?
The only other thing I can think of I haven't mentioned is so random, but was it during Rock and Roll All Night that like a fan or something jumped on stage?
Yes, I forgot about that.
It was such a brief moment that I almost didn't catch it until you pointed it out.
Because the fan was so calm and so chill.
Well, and didn't Paul didn't seem freaked out.
Paul was smiling. And,
he you know, either high-fived him or did something, and then he walked away. It was so weird.
It's funny because, so there was that moment where the fan comes out, and he's just, like, waving to the crowd. And
walking across the stage,
walks by Paul, and does he skin him a little bit? Does he give him a little five, something like that? And then he gets taken off. And then I can think back to, let's see, when they were playing, also Detroit, Michigan. They were playing on the Hot in the Shade tour at the Palace of Auburn Hills. And at the very end of the show, I think during I Want You or something, a fan, maybe it was Rock and Roll Night, a fan comes running out on stage. And they're headbanging. Yeah. And then he gets drug away. And Paul's laughing and it's chill. I think it's funny how the times have changed and how things are different. Because fast forward to 2014, on the 40th anniversary tour, a fan jumps on stage, and Paul turns around and tries to kick him with his boot. And Paul was not happy.
I don't blame him for not being happy, but that's so funny.
It looked funny because Paul did not make contact, but boy, did he try, and he gave it his all with that little kick.
Well,
and he got drug off stage by...
In the last 40 years, a lot of crazy stuff has happened at concerts, and a lot of crazy people have tried to...
People get crazier and crazier.
Hurt artists and fans, and succeeded in a lot of times, and there's been terrorist attacks and things like that. So
my gosh, I
can understand how, as time goes on, you feel a lot less safe with little things like that.
Totally.
Which, you know, luckily, both those cases you mentioned were harmless, but they could have easily not have been. I would not feel safe.
No, I wouldn't either. I mean, you're already kind of vulnerable up on stage. Look at Dimebag Darrell. I mean, all
the intention is on you. That's already kind of
But
scary.
Paul definitely gave him a little boot to the ass. Tried to. But anyway, here it's the 80s. What are you gonna do? It was funny, but no, good mentioning that.
That was funny.
That is funny. All right, well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go ahead and move on now to the Collector's Corner because I do, of course, have some Kiss collectibles to show you guys. Some new additions to the collection. I'm starting it off hot today.
Okay.
I'm coming in hot.
I've been wondering what this is.
You saw, so, I mean, when you get this in the mail, you know it's going to make you happy. And they chose the correct package because cute, I know what it is. I know what's inside. And
it reminds me of the old Walmart smiley faces.
The old Walmart logo, the rollback logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this. Oh, it even came in a pack A sleeve.
When I got this out of the
Yes.
mailbox, I was like, this is a Kiss shirt or something, and I must know what it is.
Well, you are correct.
I figured.
You are correct on that part. All right, we have some inserts here. Thank you for supporting small businesses. You're very welcome. Thank you for supporting my Kiss addiction. Thank you for supporting not just my Kiss addiction, but my Kiss Indiana addiction.
Okay.
So this is a concert t-shirt. Kiss Rocks Indianapolis. I was there May 20th, 2000 from Deer Creek on the farewell tour. This one I can actually wear. You know what? As a matter of fact...
Oh, that is sick.
We're both wearing... Okay, I tell you what. It's crazy to me how the term vintage has changed because
as it does over time.
At this point, this shirt is now vintage.
Yeah, the definition hasn't changed. Time has just
No,
passed.
I'm sorry. The merch that is qualified as vintage changes over time, and we're at the point now.
And you can even tell because it's a single stitch tee.
My era is becoming vintage.
It is, yeah.
This right here. I mean, the farewell tour, that show East Rutherford, that was the first full-length Kiss show Jeb and I watched.
That is a great shirt.
This Millennium concert.
That photo.
This Millennium, Kiss Alive. Photo is fantastic. Kiss Rocks Indianapolis, May 20th. Wow. So last episode, I was showing some ads that I bought.
Yeah.
2 of those ads were from this show.
That's true.
I also have a ticket from this show, and I have Ace Frehley's guitar pick from this show. Not stage played, but still Ace's guitar pick that was just overstocked from the show. But it is from May 20th at Indianapolis. So this shirt is super cool. You can see where it's been cracked.
Yep.
It's not like miscolored or anything, but it definitely looks a little faded. It's so cool.
But in the best way.
In the vintage way, the way you want it.
Exactly.
But this is one that I can actually wear. Not all the time, but I can at least wear it
pretty
for the
regularly.
show.
It's
I can wear it for the show.
Yeah.
I'm wearing it right now.
Yeah, it's thick enough it's not going to wear through too quick.
The cool thing,
I love it.
The cool thing is that Deer Creek was the very first. That's the venue where Jeb and I saw Kiss for the first time.
That's true. Yep.
It was Verizon. While it was
it's
from
gone
Deer
through many
Creek
name
to
changes.
Verizon, and then when we came back, it was Klipsch.
And now
and then it's Ruoff.
Oh, I don't even think it's Ruoff anymore.
Isn't
it something
Ruoff?
else?
Maybe it is.
I can't remember what it is now. It's changed.
It keeps changing
many times.
But I've seen Kiss
a lot of
there.
people still call it Deer Creek or Verizon.
Although they do, it's still called Deer Creek. I still call it Verizon and Klipsch.
Yeah.
But when we were there, it was Verizon. But yeah, so this is still the same. It's the same place.
Yep.
And I'll never forget because when Jeb and I saw Kiss, August 31st, 2019. That was our 10th Kiss show. That was going to be our last Kiss show. And we saw our last Kiss show in the same place as we saw our first show.
And then you saw how many shows after that?
Like 5. Like 5. But that was our last show. That was the last show, and then everything else...
It's not your fault they added dates.
Everything else was cherry on top.
Exactly.
And then Rosemont was the final show.
Yes.
Yeah. Rosemont was the final, August 31st, 2019. That was the last.
Okay.
And those were both different. Anyway... No, honestly, I mean, it's crazy how much vintage shirts can go for. Mm-hmm. I think I paid more for this than I did that.
Wow, that's wild.
Probably by maybe almost double, which is kind of crazy. Because I got a good deal on that.
Yeah.
I got a good deal on that. This was pretty standard for vintage t-shirts.
Yeah.
Great. Either way, though, I love it. Because, Kiss Indiana. There's a couple more shirts, but they're just a little bit too pricey for me that are also from Indiana.
Yeah.
There's one from the reunion tour. And then one from, I think, also the reunion tour, but just a different Indiana show. Mm-hmm. I'd love to have them, but I don't have all the money in the world. I do have this, though, which is sweet. So I want Daphne to have some fun. So I'm going to let you open this, and then we'll share this together.
Okay.
I think you're going to like this.
Do I know anything about this?
No, I would never let you... I would never spoil the fun. Don't look too hard, mate. Just.
I gotta not damage it. Okay.
That would be great. Don't damage it. Definitely not. So, do you know what this item looks like?
It's a poster, obviously.
It's a poster.
What do we have here?
Well, we've been kind of camping out in the 1980s.
Oh, wow. No way.
So, take a look.
Crazy Nights poster?
Yeah.
I don't even know. You might have to help me.
I will, if you want to.
Show
just
this.
Hold it over here. Check out this full 24 by 36 Crazy Nights poster. Yeah, how cool is that? Let me get a date here.
I am obsessed.
This is
that is
from
amazing.
This is from 1988. This is a legit Crazy Nights poster.
That's so good.
You can see the top corners have been tacked.
Yep.
And the bottom is ripped. This thing has been used. This thing has been loved.
There's tape on the back. I love it.
A Kiss fan had this and used it and sold it.
I love that it's live shots, but it's edited to look like the Crazy Nights, like
the cracked
mirror album cover. That's so freaking good.
Yeah,
where are we gonna put this?
I don't know. I think probably the garage.
It needs to be displayed.
Since we're kind of like moving the garage around, this might be a really cool garage poster.
I'm obsessed.
Because we don't have any 80s unmasked. There's some unmasked Kiss on that poster there, but it's more of a collage.
Combined with everybody, yeah.
So this is like the first full 80s collage, or 80s poster that we have. Now, guess who gave me the tip on this?
Who?
Good old Rick. Our friend Rick.
Shout out, Rick.
He said, hey, I know Daphne's a fan of Crazy Nights. You might check this out. It's actually a really good price. This was a very, very cheap
I'm obsessed.
poster.
This is incredible.
Obviously, again, most collectors wouldn't want to go for it because it has so many tack holes. Like,
who cares?
I can see the camera through this little hole.
I don't care.
This is ripped. But no, I don't care because we're going to get it framed.
Won't notice.
We're going to get it framed. It looks so good. Absolutely. Yeah, we can go ahead and let it roll up here. But I'm just glad to have it because, again, we're doing so much 80s love now that we're just adding more to the 80s collection. So yeah, I gotta get a frame for that. It won't be too expensive, but it'll be well worth
much.
It'll be worth it to hang it up.
Thank you, and thank you, Rick, for the tip.
Thanks for the tip, Rick.
Incredible.
He gave us a tip on, what was it recently he gave us a tip on? There was something else that he gave us a tip on. I forget what it was.
I'm not sure.
But anyway.
I love Kiss fans.
I love Kiss fans too, yeah. Jeb gave us a gift. Well, gave me a gift. Excuse me.
Okay.
But Jeb, sorry. No, well, I'm gonna share. I'm gonna share it with. No. I ain't gonna share it with you. So Jeb got. I'm surprised you didn't see it over here. It's this big box.
No, I didn't think about it. You always have boxes. Oh, nice.
Jeb got me a full case of blood orange. That's so nice.
All blood orange.
All blood orange.
Yeah.
For my birthday. So
that's so nice.
Thank you, Jeb. You know what's great about this? Jeb getting me money bag for my birthday was what started the whole tradition of drinking on the show in the first place.
Is that right? Because I didn't even remember that.
Because he got me a case, and then the next month we said, hey, let's film our podcast. And I said, hey, why don't we drink money bag on our first episode?
Yeah.
Since you got me a full case for my birthday. And then we said, it's just going to be a thing every episode.
Yeah, we'll just keep doing it. It's good.
And here we are.
That's amazing.
Almost
That's
4
so nice
years
of him.
later. And we're still drinking money back soda, keeping the tradition alive. And Jeb got me one of the best flavors.
I was going to say, blood orange is by far my favorite, so I will definitely be sharing.
Absolutely. No, and it's summertime, so it's perfect.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
It came out like last year, so
yum.
Yeah, thank you to Jeb for a whole case, 16 bottles.
That's so nice.
Of Gene Simmons Money Bag Soda. You guys can go to Gene Simmons Money. This is not sponsored, but you can go to GeneSimmonsMoneyBagSoda.com or something like that, MoneyBagSoda.com, and have this delivered to your house. Have it shipped. It does cost, I think, the same as for the whole package. It's double basically to have it shipped, but it's worth it because you don't have to travel. It comes right to you. You get to choose your own flavors.
And every so often they'll have little sales and things.
They do have sales.
If you keep an eye on it.
They also include. I have a million of these, don't I?
Yes, you do.
Like up there, I have
too many.
a million of these soda carrying cases. And they also threw in a promo sticker. So nice. I've got a couple of those now, which is great. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the corner today.
That's a great collector's corner day.
Not bad.
Yeah,
not bad.
Really solid.
Vintage t-shirt, vintage poster, money bag soda.
Love it.
You can't go wrong there. So thank you guys so much for joining us. The last thing we're going to get to just real quickly here is the Kiss calendar. And that's because next episode is Ace's birthday, April 27th. So we're going to be celebrating Ace for his 74th birthday. I'm still trying to come up with an idea of what I want to do because next Sunday is Ace's birthday. So that means that the next episode will be going up on Ace's birthday.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to, just like we did a Gene Simmons birthday episode, a Paul Stanley episode for his birthday, Rob and I have done Eric Singer episodes in the past couple years. So it's only fair to give Ace his own full episode. So we'll be doing an Ace for the birthday celebration episode next time. And then, as far as we know, Gene Simmons Live in Beaver Dam, Kentucky
has not been canceled yet.
It has not been canceled. The only problem is, one thing that bothers me is that they have not sent the tickets out yet.
Mm-hmm.
The tickets in the email specifically said that they were going to be delayed until April 30th.
Yeah.
To make sure that none of the people that bought tickets were bots.
Yeah.
Or fake accounts or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, I get that. But at the same time, like, if the show is May 3rd, you're waiting until April 30th. It's like, hopefully they either mail them out in time or they...
there are physical...
I don't know.
I would
I
imagine...
would assume it's email delivery.
I would imagine you'll get them emailed just a few days before.
But so far, it's pretty unclear instructions. So
yeah.
I have the email saying that I purchased tickets. It says they'll... we're going to wait until April 30th.
Yeah, I wouldn't be worried until it's April 30th and you haven't got anything.
When did we buy those tickets? That was like, what, February? Something like that, probably?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been waiting for a few months, but
February.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see Gene. So, yeah, we'll be doing a video on that, and stay tuned for that. So, yeah, I think that's it for right now for the KISS calendar is just Ace's birthday and then Gene's show live in Beaver Dam. Now, of course, if you guys have anything else to add
do you want to keep it on
to the
April
KISS calendar, yeah, we'll keep it on April for now. But if anybody out there has anything they want to add as far as like, hey, there's a KISS tribute band playing in my area, on this date, put it in the comments.
Yeah.
We had Order of the Rose, Joey's book. If you have a KISS project coming out, let us know.
Speaking of which, I finished that. It's amazing.
Yes.
I know you've gotten a little bit further into it.
A little bit farther into it, yes, absolutely.
I still highly recommend it.
It's right here. We can go ahead and show it again. So,
yep.
Yeah, Joe Vicasano wrote his version of The Elder fleshed out, where we actually have characters and settings and a story that we can sink our teeth into.
Yeah.
And he did an incredible job. This is
very cool.
It's about 400 pages. Yeah, about 350 pages. Very beautifully done. Look at the title page. I mean, can we just
border
appreciate the title page
and the cover?
The fact that it actually comes with a map of Orlith,
like every good fantasy novel should.
Every good fantasy novel should have a map, and we have a map of the place that this takes place in. So yeah, very cool book. I highly recommend everybody if you're an Elder fan, if you're a fantasy lit fan, like if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or anything like that.
Yeah.
This, and if you're going to KISS, this is like the perfect intersection.
Agreed.
I'm going to try and read it as fast as I can and finish it because I want to have Joey on to discuss it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It'd be great to have him on, talk about the creative process, coming up with the book, his love of the Elder, anything else.
I feel like I saw his post the other day that it was like number 8 on the Amazon like fantasy charts.
That is correct.
I was like, that is so impressive. People are really buying this book. I love it.
It reached number 8, so top 10, can't go wrong there.
Yeah, super
very,
cool.
Very proud, very happy for Joey. And so I'm going to try and have him on the show so we can discuss that because I think it's super awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I was a faster reader. I like to read, but sitting in one place for too long, I'm one of those people. I mean, unless I'm on the computer.
I was going to say.
I'm one of those people.
you sit in one place
I'm
long
to be up until probably midnight editing this.
But
and
that's one of the reasons that you
and
don't read much is because you're usually working on your own content.
I'm working on my own content, so it's hard to consume.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's hard to consume content when you're creating so much content. But
Yeah.
I love, stuff like that, you just make time for.
You make time for it, agreed.
You make time for that stuff. So, in any case, thank you guys so much. This has been episode 136 of the Kiss Our Things podcast. I highly recommend breaking out your VHS copy of Animalize Live Uncensored or your Brazilian bootleg copy or on YouTube if you don't have it, just go back and just celebrate Animalize Live Uncensored. Great era of the band, super energetic, and of course it's just it's total classic KISS.
Amazing.
And so even if you're not a fan of the 80s lineup, or 80s unmasked KISS, give it another listen, another look.
Give it a chance because musically it was just
Eric
top
Carr
tier.
on fire, everybody on fire, band firing all cylinders. It was a great performance to watch. So, I love celebrating KISS with you guys. Thank you guys for being here. I want to give a shout out to the Patreon crowd, our Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for choosing to, watch us and tune into our content every week. It really is a lot of fun. We have exclusive videos, bonus videos, and extended videos. We also have a newsletter going up every month, the Kiss Army Things newsletter.
Yep.
So the Mega Edition will be going up shortly after that Gene show. I think about a week after, maybe at most. So stay tuned for that. I'm always having new activities with each of the newsletters, so it's a lot of fun bringing you guys extra fun KISS content. So Thank you for being just here on YouTube. Even if you're not a subscriber on Patreon, that's okay. Thank you for being here on YouTube and watching our content, tuning in. We love celebrating Kiss, and so we're going to continue to do that. And we'll see you guys in episode 137 of the Kiss Everything's podcast. Until then, my name is Xander.
My name is Daphne.
Peace out and rock on.